Hi everybody, this is Lonnie, and today is cleaning day for the machine. There are other videos out there, and WeCreat has a great video out there on cleaning the machine. But a lot of times, if you see another person's point of view or another way it's presented by somebody else, it's a little bit easier to learn. So I'm going to go ahead and make one. Mine may not be step by step exactly like WeCreat's is. Or other people's is, but everybody, after you've done it their way so many times, you find little tips and tricks that makes it a little bit easier for you to do. So that's the way I'm going to do it. I would defer you to theirs for warranty work, but you can look at mine and compare the two of them and see what you think. Stuff that I use, you use a brush, Q-tips, isopropyl alcohol, paper towels, also not on camera. I have a vacuum cleaner and a air compressor. They're portable ones, the Ryobi. If you use an air compressor as a blower, you need to make sure that your pressure is not up real high. You're going to blowing it through the laser head and stuff like that. You don't want to blow the interior parts out. So regulate it down to about 80 psi, just enough to get a burst of air out and through there to do it. I've also not listed is a bigger brush to brush down the insides of the machine. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and we'll be right back in just a second. Okay, the first thing that you do is make sure that the machine is turned off. You don't want to manually manipulate anything inside the machine with it being turned on. If you do, you could break something, a gear or something like that. So it's off, and what I do is I take this big brush and I brush down the sides, and I try to brush down on the chains, just the grill on the fan, just get everything down to where it's into the crumb tray. There'll be more coming later, but depending on what you've been engraving, there'll be particles everywhere. So you just want to try to get them knocked down so you don't get any buildup on the machine. Okay, the next thing I've done is I've made sure the power's off again, and I brought the head up here to the front where I can work on it. You can use either the tools WeCreat sent to you, or I use this little screwdriver here. You take the 4 screws off the top of the fan. Put your screws in a container. Just a suggestion, make it a shallow container. That way when you knock it over, the chances of you knocking it over are less, and when you do knock it over, they don't go flying as far. It's not a question of if you're going to knock it over, it's when, because it's Murphy's Law in action. It will happen. You get the 4 screws out, pull the top off, and you clean the top, sides, bottom with isopropyl alcohol and a washcloth or a paper towel or Q-tips. You get it clean. Once you have it clean, set it off to the side and move on to the next piece. As you see on this fan here, there's a sticker, and I don't know if it focuses well enough for you to read the sticker, but it says on this one, keep this side up. My other machine does not have that sticker on it, so they've addressed the situation so that you know that this side is up. You're going to carefully pull that fan out along with the rubber that's around it, and when you pull it out, you'll see there's a wire coming out of it. Watch where that wire is and how that wire runs and which corner that wire goes to, and you will be putting it back in the exact same way that you took it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a black marker and mark this corner over here. Now that will come off in time as you're cleaning it, but that's a reminder that I know that that wire goes next to that corner. Okay, if you are doing this with a one that doesn't have the sticker on it that says this side up. On the other side, there's the manufacturer's sticker that's got the model number and the voltage and everything written on the bottom of it. That is the side that goes down. So that's the way it goes, like that. Okay. Now we got this fan. We're going to take the fan and we're going to reach down and carefully, and it's usually two-finger operation here, disconnect the power wire from the base. This is the first time this one's ever been taken apart. Now I'm going to use my multi-tool here. Now if you do this, don't squish it really hard and do not grab the wires. You're just grabbing that white end and you're pulling it apart from the connector. Putting it on there and just kind of wiggling it back and forth until it comes off. So there it is. Like I say, grab the white piece here. Do not grab the wires themselves. Okay, now that it's off, I can go ahead and clean this. The way I'll be cleaning it is I'll be using Q-tips. You can take your finger and barely touch the bottom of it. That holds the fan still. Then you take your Q-tips and clean this side of the fan, the side walls, anything you get to, then flip it over. Do the same thing on the opposite side until everything's clean. Let me do that. I'll be right back. Okay, now once your fan is cleaned, you can set it off to the side with your other pieces. One thing I didn't mention is if you're going to use Q-tips and alcohol, these are the Q-tips for just cleaning that fan. And this machine has not been used all that much. It's a new one that I just got versus the other one, which is a workhorse. When you clean them, go ahead and take your time when you clean it. It's a lot easier to clean it now and get it off when the residue and charring and all that stuff is light, because once it builds up a little on top of a little on top of a little on top of a little more, it gets to be pretty thick and actually comes hard and is hard to clean off. It's important that fan stays as clean as possible, because what that fan does is it takes air and blows it down and cools off the laser head. You see the little slots in there, it's got grooves and stuff. It blows air down in there to keep everything cool, or pulls it up, whichever, to keep the air flowing, to keep that cool. If the airflow in there stops, it's going to heat up. If it heats up, it's going to quit. Okay, so we've done that, and now we'll move on to the next step. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to remove these airline. Pull that straight up and then feed it out the back hole over here. And now you're going to take your Q-tips and you're going to clean the inside of this, getting all the residue out of it that you can. We're going to clean the sides, this circuit board back here, the connectors here, down as far as we can, and then we're going to clean off the hose itself. I'll do that. I'll be right back. Okay, that part's clean, and now I'm going to move on to do the other side. Okay, now if you go and look at WeCreate's their cleaning thing, they'll have you disconnect everything from the back, flip the machine over so you have access to the other side. I have a bunch of these mirrors laying around that I use for cutting out. So now I can look down and see the back side of the laser head. So I don't have to disconnect and flip everything over. I can do it from this angle right here. And the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your screwdriver. I don't know if you can see this very well in the video, but there's a black cover that covers the lens on the laser, and that has to come off. And it's an air assist cone. What it does is this air He comes into the machine, goes down, and blows out that nozzle down at the bottom, and that helps with the cutting of your material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this so you don't have to look at the back of my head. I'm going to take those screws out. Okay, a few things at this point. These screws that are on the bottom of this, like I said, the first time you try to take them out, they're going to be a little stiff. But you need to remember also that since you're doing it backwards, that they're going to turn the opposite way. Another thing that you need to note is these are the screws that were on the bottom. These are the screws that were on the top. The top screws are shorter than the ones that were on the bottom, so don't get them mixed up. When you have to put that shroud back on, the longer screws are the ones that go on there. Okay, the shroud comes off and it looks something like this. And as you can see, mine's got some pitting on it or flashback on it or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all that off and I'll be right back. Okay, once that's clean, you set off the side with your other clean parts. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take off the lens cover down here below, this copper looking thing, and clean that. There's a couple schools of thought on whether to do that or not. The WeCreat's page has it being done. I'm going to do it. If you want to do it, fine. If not, that's fine as well. You'll have this wrench that came with your machine when you bought it. This was to use the screws to tighten their vent hose cover on the back. But you're going to lay it sideways. There's a notch in that copper piece. You lay it in the notch and then you're going to turn it. Usually they're about hand tight, so you don't have to use too much effort to get it done. And then you take it off, being careful not to drop it. Okay, when you get it off, this is all it is. Okay. Then you just take a Q-tip, a little bit of alcohol, wipe it down. Make sure you don't leave any residue on it. And then you can wipe down the other part of the lens too. And once you get it done, put your lens cover back on. Just a reminder, you're upside down and backwards, so the way you think it needs to be is wrong. You need to turn it the opposite way because you're working in a mirror. Okay, then next to the laser lens, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, there's this black thing. It's a flat part, and then there's an angled part. And that is what the uses to focus the lens. So you need to just clean all that off, make sure that's all clean. Yuck. Okay, I want this clean. We move on to the next step. Just a second, I'll be right back. Okay, now once I hit this, the air compressor is going to come back on. But what I'm going to do is there's a hole here on the side. I'm going to blow air in, and I'm going to blow air in down here. And where these fins are showing up here at the top, you can also see them coming out down here at the bottom. And what the purposes I'm trying to do is I'm trying to, anything that might be stuck in there, trying to blow it out the other end of the machine so it doesn't build up inside those cooling fins. And again, this is a small air compressor, regulated down. I think I've got it like 80 psi. that's done, now comes time to reassemble everything. I'm going to take this black piece with my a little bit longer than the other side screws, and I'll put these back on the bottom. Let me shut this off so you don't look at the back of my head. Okay, once that piece is back on, we're going to redo the airline here. Back in through the hole on the side. Back over here. Plug it back in. First couple times you do this, you're going to be cussing. But after you get used to it, find an easy way to do it. You got it. Once that's back in, now we put the fan back in. Remember what side the wire goes on and what side goes up. So we're going to plug her back in. Place the fan back in there correctly. We're going to put the shroud on top. And we're going to put in the 4 screws that go on top. Okay, all the screws are back in place. Just a note on cleaning the head. If you're one of the lucky people that have the 20 watt and you're taking this in and out all the time, it'd be a heck of a lot easier to clean this thing when it's out versus when it's in. So swap out the heads, clean it up before you put it back in, and that'll save you some time. Okay, we're going to get my mirror out of here. Alright, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to clean the exhaust fan back here in the back. Same principle, you're going to use Q-tips, reach it in there and clean that off. If need be, you can unscrew that cover and take it off. It unscrews from the back side, so you have to take the back panel off to do it. It's a lot of headache to do it. So just clean the best you can from this side. I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, and then another thing of note, just like a dryer vent, that vent that leaves the back of your machine and goes to the outside or to your collector or whatever will need to be changed or cleaned or checked periodically as well. Not as often as you clean the machine, but I would check it for buildup. If there's visible buildup, change it out. They're not that expensive. Alright, so we've got that all cleaned. Now we're going to grease the machine. So what I've done, I pushed it all back to where it belongs, and then I'm going to turn on the machine, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, we're going to go to WeCreat Make It, go to the canvas, go to settings, and we're going to come down to idle mode. We're going to hit idle mode. It's going to pop up a warning. Please confirm that the laser bed has been cleared of any materials before clicking this checkbox. Then you can proceed to the next step. Our laser bed is cleared, and in addition to that, our grates are removed. We're going to click OK, and we're going to hit confirm. And what it's going to do is it's going to lower the machine down to its lowest setting. Okay, now that it's let me change the screens here, hold on. Now that our machine is down to our lowest setting, we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn it off. Move this out of the way. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to gain access to all 4 corner screws. And once you're down in the lowest portion you can. If you look down the side of the corner screw, down here there's a carrier. and that's, think of a nut on a bolt that holds steady, and as the screw turns inside that nut, this whole carriage is riding on that, and that's what raises and lowers it. Okay, so that has to be kept greased. When you got your machine, you got a tube of grease in it. No, I don't know what kind of grease to use once this is gone. We'll have to figure that out. But what you do is use your finger, or you can use a Q-tip, put a little bit of grease on it, and then back here, just lay it in there right above that carrier that's on that screw. Do it on all four corners. Okay, and then in addition to these four corners with that grease on it, this carrier bar that the laser head slides across needs grease on it, so you lay some grease on it. There are also wheels that go right across the bottom, so you put grease on that. Okay, now once you've got that on there, you can go ahead. I'm going to leave this here, so whenever it restarts, it's going to slide over, carrying grease with it as it goes. And then as you turn it on, it's going to raise up. So all that grease that you put above the carriers, as that goes up, is going to grease those screws as it goes up. So I just turned it on. Give it a second and she'll rise. And as it's rising, it's moving that grease along those screws. Okay, now it's going to grab, as this goes across, you're going to get grease where those wheels go. And I'm going to come back after the fact, since my laser head was parked over here and didn't get any grease. I'm going to put some here, so next time it comes over, it's going to grab this grease and use it over there, the top and bottom. Okay, so the machine is greased. Now one of the last steps we're going to do is we're going to take the pan out of the bottom, and then we are going to clean it. So I'm going to take this over to the garbage can, dump it out, then I'm going to take isopropyl alcohol, put on it, use a rag, clean it a couple times to make sure all that residue and kind of feel like an oily, tarish residue on there, till all that is off of there. Okay, once it's clear, put the pan back in. Okay, and now you're going to clean your grates. Stand by just a second. Okay, free product endorsement. I use this stuff. It works really well. You spray it on, lay your grates in the sink, spray this on, wait a couple minutes, and rinse it off, and they're as good as gold. This stuff works really good. Okay, once you have those cleaned, you can stick them back in, and go ahead and power off the machine. Now you've done some work on the machine, so just for safety's sake, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and check your x-axis, make sure it's good. Then you want to take your level again once it's powered off, and you want to check all four corners. making sure that they're level. I always check the center too, just in case. Okay, and it should still be centered, but if not, then you take your screwdriver and you get the long one that they gave you, and you can reach down in there to those center screws, twist them left, right, whatever, you gotta twist them to make it level. Okay, once that's done, you're done. Mission accomplished. Like, share, and follow. If you got any questions, let me know.